Hello there, beautiful. Welcome back to my channel. How are you doing today? My name is Joesephyr, and welcome to a new video for Dissidia Final Fantasy Opera Omnia. We've just had a pretty amazing community stream for the month of July that's going to outline all of the start of FR era, Shinryu difficulty. We got some incredible quality of life changes and lots for new players as well, which I was so happy to see. So if you'd like to see more about what's coming up in July and more what's coming up for Dissidia on this channel as well, then stay tuned and keep on watching. As you can see, we are actually performing this part of the video and the whole video live over on stream. We've just finished watching the community stream, and if you'd like to come and join me over on Twitch, along with all of these lovely people down below, say hello everybody, then do feel free to come and find me over on Twitch. I'm streaming FF5, FF8, FF14, and of course Dissidia every time a new event comes around. Don't forget as well to have a look at my Patreon channel, which I've also got links for down below, where I shout out one of my patrons every time I release a video. And today that person is going to be Lil May Rose, who has one of my favourites as their title card, which is Beatrix. And a massive thank you goes out to you and all of my patrons for their love and support. It means the world to me. We're actually approaching 150 patrons, which is crazy, and if we do hit that, then I'm going to be introducing a brand new benefit that's going to be related to Final Fantasy XIV. So if you're interested in that, then by all means feel free to have a look at the benefits you could be getting as a patron by clicking on the link in the description box below. And of course, don't forget to check out all of the other content creators and resources out there for DFFOO, because they all deserve your love just as much as I do. So, first things first, we have quality of life improvements to talk about here, and before we get started, a massive shout out of course to Crystal and Josh for the fabulous work they do on the community streams. Without those guys, we wouldn't have these to look forward to every month, and it really does mean the world. So let's take a look at some of these quality of life improvements, which are not only in aid of newer players, but they're stuff that we've been wanting for ages. Like, look at this stuff. We get descriptors for every character, quickly enhance a character's level, strength, boards, gear, all in one place. This is huge. If you're a long-time Dissidia player, or like me, you've had to go through each and every one of these bits individually. I'm sure chat will tell you everything just as much as I have. It's just been crazy trying to go through all of that stuff all at like one bit after another. No more loading screens, no more craziness. We can do it all from one place now. And we get a nice little list of total power and how you've done everything all together. You get everything all together in one place, so you can see who needs their boards mastered, who wants their weapons done, what their stats look like, all sorts of different things, and it's amazing to see. So I'm really pleased to see this. Not only that, but the map related changes are really good as well. We now don't have to deal with like scrolling across the map trying to get through all of that stuff to then find where we need to go. We can just do it from a list, and that's fantastic. And then we get additional summon points and wild points for World of Illusions Ultimate. So for newer players who perhaps haven't done loads of that, that's going to be really amazing for just getting those summon balls done, and you get a buttload of resources from it as well, don't forget. So that's really good. Moogle Pass is going to have its enhancement point limits increased. So from standard, so your £5 a month jobby, you're getting 15k instead of 10, and then the premium is going from 10k to 30k. So this is because the force enhancements are going to cost a lot more when it comes to enhancement points, so it's for those things in mind. Now, obviously, if you don't have Mog Pass, it's going to be staying at the standard 5,000, so it is obviously trying to incentivize spending a little bit, but don't worry, there are other ways that you can get around it. You just have to budget your enhancement points a little differently. And then after clearing Act 1, Chapter 1, this is huge for new players. All current and new allies will be raised to level 70 and Crystal Strength level 70, and all summons will be raised to level 20, which is massive. Think about how many gems you get just from ranking up for that. That's massive. As a matter of fact, a lot of the stuff that gets talked about in this stream is related to new players, and it's kind of inspired me to think that I'd like to make a new guide for newer players. Perhaps those people who've come away from Record Keeper, which is sadly entering its end of service, or perhaps people who've just never even seen any of this stuff before. And we can have one video to showcase whether, you know, like what everything is about when it comes to Dissidia. So do sound off in the comments if you'd like to see that kind of video from me this week. I will do my best to get something out because I think it's a great time to do so. So now, of course, we have the big thing that we need to be talking about, which is force weapons, FR weapons, all that stuff that we've been talking about. If you want to know a greater length of detail about FR weapons, I have actually already made a video about all of this stuff, which was my Future Pulse Prelude video, which explained the mechanics of FRs Force weapons, Shinryu, all of that stuff. And I also have made another video, which was obviously the future pulls itself, which gives you more reasons to kind of look at what big characters you might want to pull for, etc. So perhaps consider giving those a look as well. But everything that we're talking about here has been shown in the slides itself. So for those common questions that people are asking, which weapon do you want to have equipped? It's FR if it's maxed out, if you don't have a BT+, unless you have a BT+ or an Ultima weapon. That in terms of raw numbers, those weapons are better, but FR weapons will be stronger than LDs, EX pluses, etc. So if you're using a character that doesn't have one, like a BT rather, then you're going to be looking at their FR weapon as an actual equipment piece. So all the doom and gloom aside, where people were talking about it before, the draw rate for FR weapons is the same as an LD weapon. So 1-200, exactly the same. The only difference is that the G token exchanges 400 G tokens, not 300. So your tickets aren't any less valuable. They're still good, and it's just a wonderful thing to see. So upgrading wise, we actually got a big quality of life update here as well, where Dissidia points can be exchanged for more power stones than we could normally. So beforehand, it would be 1 a week for 900 points. Now it's 10 a week for 200 points. And that's huge, because they didn't see that in JP for a little while until afterwards. But to see that come out so quickly is wonderful. You can also exchange G tokens if you get all the stuff at 300 for 4 high power stones, and so if you're really pulling hard for it, you can at least pull that way. But you get them in other methods as well, like Chocobo panel missions, clearing Shinryu missions. It's not as scary and big as people think it is. FR abilities themselves, I'm not going to go into huge detail as to what they do, because I have already done that in previous videos, but I am going to point out that the bar for the Force gauge is the newer version of the Force gauge, rather than the older one that JP had first, where it was segmented into 5 blocks of 20%. We actually see the percentage gauge, we get to see everything, the information presented most proficiently, and that's a really good thing to see. And then, of course, we have Shinryu difficulty as well. And as I said, like, you do still get the little segments there, but at least you can see the percentage of the bar itself. Again, everything that that is listed on this slide, I have spoken about previously. So do go and check out that Future Pulse Prelude video if you want to know more. If not, by all means, feel free to pause this video on any of the slides that you've seen here if you want more explanations as to how Square is presenting the information for Shinryu and Force gauges, etc. So you can look at it that way. The other question I did want to address is that people were concerned that because Chaos Challenges were leaving, that you wouldn't be able to get BT tokens. That's ridiculous. They're not just going to suddenly stop everyone from getting BT tokens. What's actually happening with that is Chaos Challenge is being removed, but the rewards from Chaos Challenge is instead being transferred to the Chaos fight, so that you can get the BT tokens from that in the same way you would have done from a Chaos Challenge. So don't panic, your BT tokens aren't going anywhere, and obviously we're losing Cosmos difficulty as well, and Lufenia Plus difficulty as well. We're not going to get less gems though, because you're going to get the same amount of gems. They're not going to suddenly just take away gems or anything like that. There's nothing to panic about. What to talk about here is Force Enhancement. Again, we have already covered this before, but I was a bit of a donut in my last video when talking about Kain and Penelo and all of that, and I actually forgot to speak about Penelo and Mogs and like Force Enhancements. Force Enhancements are really good if you want to charge the Force gauge quickly, because without it, you charge it slower, and having these points is good. But we have also been told that we're getting Force Stones, which are the items you use to give Force Awakenings, and we're getting some enhancement points to fill out your first character. And then the leveling requirements. The thing that annoys me a little bit with Force Enhancements is that Force Stones and Force Fragments are the same thing. You can use Force Fragments, or 20 of them, in place of using Force Stones. So I'm not entirely sure why we have Force Stones and why we couldn't just be given 20 Force Fragments if we can use them in the same way anyway. It seems needlessly convoluted, but trust me when I say Force Stones and Force Stone Fragments, both very, very useful. So you're going to use them to awaken your character's Force Enhancements and make it so that they charge FR gauge quicker, they get more stuff out of it, and you get Force Stones by either maxing an FR weapon or clearing a Shinryu mission. I didn't speak much about Morgan Penelo when I should have done, because Penelo, with her awakening, or Force Enhancements at the very least, is actually very good at charging the Force gauge. However, I wouldn't go out of my way to pull for Penelo necessarily, because there are a lot of characters that are very good at that, And if you happen to already have Penelo and you have a surplus of enhancement points, maybe you could look at it. But it costs you 15,000 points to max it out, and you probably don't need to use Penelo this early on unless you're not planning on pulling on another supercharger anytime soon. Okay, so the next thing that we're going to be seeing is going to be, all of this is happening on Wednesday. Well, Wednesday for me, Tuesday night for people on the other side of the world. But there's a lot of hype over this bit. I keep pointing this way when it's this way. For the Summer Festival, which we're getting multi-draws for the next 11 banners, which is pretty huge, and people love the free pulls. And so that's going to cover Kain's batch, it's going to cover all of Kam'lanaut's batch, there's lots to look forward to on that. We're getting summer status badges, which is nice. I could do with that little drink on the side there. I mean, this one is nice, but it's just water. So, you know, maybe a little cocktail or something would be nice to have as your status badge. Summer Gigantoir with limited time missions for more Force Stone fragments to help you get those Force Awakenings. Cactuar appearance, triple cycle quest rewards. So for Gil, that's going to be handy. Limited time panel missions, more resources, and this is massive. So new player campaigns, this is only going to be affecting new players. So if you're brand new to the game and you have started the game after June 29th, you will get 30,000 30,000 gems for finishing chapter 1, 100 power stones, boatloads of free stuff. Now I saw a lot of people sort of saying that they were sad that they weren't getting this if they weren't a new player, but quite honestly, I think having any kind of reason to bolster new player numbers, getting new people into the game is just a fabulous thing to see. So I'm really happy to see it. And honestly, like I said, I'm very, very sort of incentivized to make another guide for beginners so that people who are either coming from Record Keeper or just interested in the game at all will have a one-stop shop of places they can go that will answer some of the questions that people want to see most. So again, if you want to see that in the chat or in the comments, let me know. Okay, so the first actual event that we're going to be seeing here is the story chapter, Act 3, Chapter 8, Part 1, which is also going to be coming out on Wednesday, and we're getting Kain with it, with this absolutely sensual costume. Like, it's just beautiful, and I have to have it. But luckily, I've already covered everything that we're going to be seeing in Kain's event in my last video, which was a should you pull for his kit, Warrior of Light, Mog, Penelo. Like I said, I did not mention Mog and Penelo or anybody's enhancement boards or anything when I should have done, and I apologise for forgetting to do so. But free multi-draws on both of these, extra enhancement points from token exchange to kickstart those FRs for people, and also reworks for all of those aforementioned characters, force levels as well for Prompto and Kais. Again, I wouldn't go out of my way to give force levels to these guys, but if you've got a surplus of enhancement points, there's no reason why you couldn't. If you're like me and you've had Mog Pass and stuff, you might have a load, but you will need to start budgeting the enhancement points if you're not using the Mog Pass, because it adds up quickly even if you do have a lot. So, also, Divine Ifrit, again, fantastic way for people to get started in the game. Get that Divine Ifrit leveled up. It's a great summon to start the game with. So, awesome stuff here all round. If you want to know more about Kain and QoL and all of that good stuff, then go back and check out that Should You Pull video. So the next thing we have to talk about here is also starting on Wednesday. There's a lot coming out on Wednesday. And it's a retweet campaign that's already been finished. But there's actually two of these, one happening later down the line in July. And we're getting some free high power stones, which is great for FR stuff. So in JP, when FRs were released, there was a lot of concern about having enough power stones to actually start making FRs. And for people who don't have a lot of them, there is a little bit of that where you have to actually budget them properly. But with all of these free high power stones, the quality of life changes for Dissidia point exchanges, all sorts of stuff like that, it's not nearly as bad as it was for them for us. So that's a good thing. On July 4th, we're getting Kryl back. And I love Kryl. You absolutely don't have to pull for Kryl, but she's FF5, and I'm all like hyped up on FF5 right now because of 4-Job Fiesta. I've been playing that again. Damn Berserker. And I'm honestly super hyped for Kryl, even though I know that most people probably shouldn't pull for her. She's decent, but she's not like anything outwardly amazing. She's good at supercharging the FR gauge. She does thunder damage stuff and battery related stuff, and she gets reworked here as well. And then obviously Kain BT is going to feature on here. His FR won't, because that's restricted to his banner. And then after that, on July 8th, we're going to be getting Braska and the other half of the story chapter. Braska is an interesting one. He, again, is very good at charging the FR gauge. He's also got some interesting tools with fire, but he doesn't enchant the party for fire, which is a little bit of a misnomer, and he's going to be coming along with Jecht and his C90 and rework, where Kryl is going to be coming along with Aurons. You want Aurons. I'm just going to put that out there. If you don't have Kryl, that's fine. You're going to want to come away with Auron LD, because it's really powerful. Again, anyone in the chat who knows how good Auron is with his C90 and the rework he gets, Force Enhancement boards, all of that good stuff, it's very powerful. So, Braska, I mean, it's interesting as well that they didn't blank out the character. It's quite interesting that they've just decided to stop doing that now. But Auron is absolutely the one that you want to be looking at here out of this batch if you don't have him already. So you want Kain and you want Auron. I would like Kryl because I'm just a little bit of a fanboy for FF5 stuff. But other than that, you probably find you don't need that much on these, even though the new FR stuff is exciting. Okay, so closing out the last half of the month is why you probably don't want to be pulling all that much on the following banners. Kam'lanaut, Machina, Tidus. They're all pretty damn amazing, with special mention going to Kam'lanaut because of the way his FR and his BT work. Kam'lanaut's FR revolves around paralysis or being unable to act and ice damage, so you're going to want to pull out the old Kurosame LDs again for this, and it works off of characters that launch or like involved in a launch, so you're going to be finding damage just going up and up and up. Free multi-draws here as well. I was honestly only expecting to see Kain's batch get free pulls, but we're getting them for Kam'lanaut's batch as well. Yes, quite rightly there. Bring out snow BTs as well if you wanted to use those. Cecil is also here. He's not Kam'lanaut though. Like, he's alright. He's not Kam'lanaut. Like, Kam'lanaut is the thing. So there is that, and obviously we will cover all of these banners in greater detail with Should You Pull banners as we go live with those. There's another retweet campaign that's going out to give us even more high power stones and free stuff, which is wonderful. And then July 19th we get Desh's banner. Desh is fine, his FR is not. Like, if you want a thunder-based FR early, I'd probably prefer Kryl's than Desh's, but there are much better ones than both of them later down the line. But Desh is okay with just his LD if you wanted to use that. Machina is what you want to be looking at here. He doesn't get an FR or anything. He's fine with the kit he's already got. But if you already liked Machina before at C80, well, now he can equip an Ultima weapon. And that's a lot of damage. And he also gets a lot more off-turn damage as well because his normal counter actually gets an HP dump in it, which is pretty wonderful. So, honestly, Machina is somebody worth looking at here, particularly if you happen to already have him and don't have to pull on this at all. Tidus, however, gets an FR. Tidus and Kam'lanaut and Kain are why this month is expensive for people. For new players, veteran players, anyone that's available, you are going to want at least one or two of these characters, if not all three of them, because they are bonkers. All three of them. Tidus has an FR that fuels himself. He's still a selfish damage dealer, still done all that stuff that he's always done before, except now he has an FR that works off of instant turn rate and hitting a debuffed enemy. And then you can do that with Selfie in your party, or Selfie's buff from a friend unit or whatever. Kam'lanaut's FR on the case if you wanted to use Kam'lanaut instead of him. Kain in the sky at the same time. It's a colossal amount of damage. If you're not sure about the quirks and mechanics of FR era just yet, you will get used to them. Trust me when I say Tidus, Kain, Kam'lanaut, they are the ones. For early FR era, they're still good going forward. You're gonna want some of these characters. That is a lot for July in Dissidia Opera Omnia. We have a lot going on. We have tons to look forward to. We've got FR coming out. New players are going to be rejoicing. Kain, Kam'lanaut, Tidus, Machina. There's tons of power coming out. And a couple of fan favourites too. Like, I'm really looking forward to Kryl. I don't particularly care about Braska, but I know a lot of people do. And yeah, there's just tons for us to look forward to. So if you're watching this over on YouTube, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, click the bell for notifications on any future videos I might be making. And if you're on Twitch like all of these lovely people, thank you ever so much for joining me today. And you'd like to come along and join in on this in the future or any other streams I'm doing, definitely come and find me on there as well. And with that, I will wish you all a lovely day. And thank you very much once again for coming. I will see you later, beautiful. Have a lovely day. Bye now.